What are some of the differences between qualitative and quantitative forecasts? Well, qualitative forecasts are created by one or more knowledgeable forecasters, and these are used when your quantitative forecasts are scarce or judged useless. So now you have to go and create your own or create it off others. And then your quantitative forecast is the numbers of your previous sales records. Like, for example, sales may indicate that swimsuits sell a lot better in May, June, July, August versus winter jackets. So basing off your numbers, it's going to be a good indicator of sales forecasts for your future sales. And then what are some of the more common poor warehouse management symptoms? Well, first off, like, you have high inventory levels and frequent stockouts where you have high inventory of wrong products that are just not selling, and the stuff that you are selling is constantly out of order, losing you business. Then you have growing frequency of inventory transfers between units to where one city, for example, let's just say they're selling more toy cars, but you have all your toy cars in a different warehouse 2 states away. That does you no good. And then you have frequent sales to reduce inventory. Well, that means that product is not selling, but you have a high amount of it on the shelf. That means you're putting wrong amount of products on your shelf of that certain product. Like, you have to keep up with what is selling using the forecast that you have, not using the forecast. And then finally, purchasing based on a quantity discount. Like, that just does not help you. Chapter 5. What is the role of transportation in supply chain and supply chain management? Well, the role of transportation is to assist people in the supply chain on, one, getting it to their doorstep and keeping it at a low cost, getting it off of your shelves and into the hands of the buyers, is to keep your business moving. And then in the management, it's not only just like getting your products to shelves or to doors, it's moving the stuff needed to make your products, like your raw materials, and then transporting it to different stations, and finally to either stores or shelves, to where that can be where it either has been bought or will be bought. Like, say I'm creating a bunch of toy cars, well, I got to ship them to Target to where they can sell. That's what that is. And then 5 basic models of transportation with a couple of ancillary options. 5 basic models are motor, rail, air, water, pipe. And motor is like your semi trucks, your box trucks, basically stuff that you can move around with ease. And the cost of it is a little bit high, and it's a little bit iffy on trying to predict the timetable on it because several major factors can happen into it. While air, for low cost products, it is not worth it. It is a high cost transportation, but it does get it there faster. But you can't expect delays at terminals and then waiting on other vehicles to unload these airplanes. And then rail, while it's a bit cheaper and it can move fast, it is few and far between opportunities to get stuff on rails, so it is not likely to be a viable source of transporting stuff, but it is frequent on being on time. And then finally, you have your boats. That is where you just transport stuff across nations and across oceans. That is high in bulk. It's in low cost to where it is cheap for you, but it is not priority freight. Like, this is to where you're not going to see it for a few months and you are okay with that. Finally, pipe is your natural gas, crude oils, water, and a few other things, to where it's decently low cost and it offers an alternative transportation to get you your product you need to move. And then ancillary options are small package delivery, like Amazon delivering to doorsteps, or FedEx and UPS dropping off packages to doorsteps. Like, that's a couple of options. And then you have drone delivery, which has to be approved by U.S. government. Like Walmart is recently now doing drone delivery, so there's that. And then 4 major types of warehouses there is 4, which is public, private, cross-docking, and contract. And like public warehouses, they're always rented out by a firm that it's usually like a 30-day lease, nothing crazy to where you need that specific warehouse to hold your products for a bit. Private warehouses usually owned always by that company to where they can store their products and stuff, like Amazon. They'll have warehouses across the country to store their stuff to where it can get shipped out to the smaller shipping centers. Then you have your cross-docking, where it's like a stationary warehouse or stuff to where you can get it. It usually sits there no more than 24 hours because it's constantly getting moved to different locations each day. And then finally, you have your contract, is a partnership where you have a provider that will provide the receiving and shipping of your product out into the world, and you contract and pay them money to where they will handle and do all the services for that. A decent example could be FedEx. And then in general, what's the pros and cons of having a lot of warehouses and not as many warehouses in supply chain? Well, pro of having a lot of warehouses is you can expand your outreach a little further, and you can potentially give yourself easier means of transportation and cost. So like if you have several warehouses where you can just have a bunch of vans ship around a lot of products, that makes it a little cheaper for you. But the con of that is you could be paying a lot more people to get your product out there, which could end up costing you more money. And then like having less warehouses and stuff, the con of it is your outreach and getting stuff out there is going to be a little harder because now you have less areas to work with, but at the same time you're working on getting your costs down, which means you're going to do a little more shipping, but it's all going to be on like one truck, less people you got to pay, so like less facilities you got to maintain, but it can limit your effectiveness of delivering. And that is all I have for week 2. Thank you.